say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. You are so pretty. When you look at yourself, you supposed to say, I'm so pretty. You are so pretty. Do you hear me? You got the prettiest little dimples. You are too cute.
Oh. I know you saw it, right? Everyone saw it. The video of the little girl getting her hair done and she calls herself ugly. I couldn't believe it. I was in awe that a little girl so cute and beautiful would even have these thoughts. I have to shout out the beautician who immediately rebuked and affirmed her and told her how beautiful she was. But then I thought about it, like I had those same thoughts as a kid and I was a lot older than her. And I was thinking like, man, how could someone have these thoughts at such a young age? But I just remembered my daughter said the same thing almost. My name's Belief, and you're watching Belief in Fatherhood. We exist to equip fathers, give hope to mothers, and inspire children. And this is a story about how little black girls need to hear constantly how beautiful they are from everybody in the family.
Who told you otherwise? That you ain't beautiful like that glow coming off your skin is the usual, like that is normal and unique. That beauty that you see is the same thing they try to manifest in boutiques. That ain't a dent on your cheek. That is simply the dent.
All right, everybody, this video is brought to you by Belief in Fatherhood. Let's keep checking it out.
That God gave you to keep, and it's a blessing to me, because when you smile, I feel like God is messaging me. So keep smiling every time you do, you stun on the weak, and that's just tongue-in-cheek kinda. And if you didn't know, you should just play this to remind you, you have a divine designer. It's a blessing that we found you. To know you is an honor. Your melanin's perfected, and you should wear it like armor. I know this sounds somber, but I wonder, who gave you such a thought that you would ponder your reflection or the color or complexion or the texture of your hair? I don't know what it is about being black in America that we don't recognize our beauty until later in life. Every kid I've ever met of darker complexion, including myself, has had this struggle with being satisfied with what they see in the mirror. And to me, honestly, it's an epidemic.
My ear is not so cute.
What?
It's not.
It is.
Yeah.
Anytime we hear our daughter or son speaking negatively about their appearance, we always rebuke and affirm them. Because we remember being those same kids, looking in the mirror and not being pleased with what we see.
Maya, your hair is beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's go check on the boys, see what they're up to. Y'all still cleaning up?
I'm pretty sure we're all done.
Man, you guys are doing an excellent job in here. Yeah, what's all that in there? What is that?
A rock?
Let me see your hands. It looks pretty good in here, though. You guys are doing a good job.
After Mom is done, look, she's doing, can we like do this thing?
What thing?
The thing that watches all the thing, and you can see these lines.
Oh, okay. You're talking about a vacuum? Have you used it before?
Mom have used it. Mom have let us use it.
Mom let you use the vacuum?
Maybe one time.
Did she teach you how to do it?
Well, I already know how to do it because
Wave
I'm a
check.
magic guy.
Wave check. Take that off. Let me check on your waves. Yikes.
What?
Let's go brush your hair.
Is that good?
That looks better. Now all the way around. Now you got to start in the middle. Remember? Start in the middle. Start in the middle.
Okay.
Go ahead. Do your thing. Other side.
This side?
Mm-hmm.
Dad, do you see this?
Turn around. Let me see.
Dad, do you see this? And the another thing is higher, and another thing is low?
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, one time, me and Ryan were peeing together, and Ryan peed on my leg.
What does it have to do with your shape up? All right, so I got some work to do. I apologize. I did mess up your hair a little bit, but you still need to keep your hair brushed, okay, and greased, okay? So you need to moisturize your scalp and your hair, and you need to keep your wave cap on correctly. I'm coming.
Are we
Almost. Here's the vacuum right here. Okay, what am I missing?
All the things she said to herself.
What did you say to yourself, baby? You're beautiful.
No, my ear is beautiful.
And you are beautiful. Nice.
You are too beautiful.
Daddy.
Yeah, that's right. You apologize
Ah.
to yourself and say it again. Say, I'm beautiful. You better say it now.
Say it loud and say it proud. I am beautiful. Oh my goodness, I did not hear you.
Come over here, let the sun kiss you.
That's cool.
No, it's not. Come over here. Put your feet right there. Very good. Now, do you feel the sun hitting your beautiful face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
Say hi, son.
Hi, Dad.
Say thank you, God,
Thank you, Dad.
for all my melanin.
All right.
All right.
All right. All right. Let's keep this party going. That was so cute. I want to get to the end, though. He has some things to say at the end. Let's break it down right there. Hold on one second. Here we go.
Part of us as parents are also responsible for making her believe she's beautiful. It's been a practice for us to affirm our children, especially, whether they're a boy or a girl. We've always tried to make the kids feel and know how much we love their skin, their complexion, and the texture of their hair. I'm curious to know, what are some things that you dealt with as a kid? Were you always confident about yourself and your appearance, or was that something you had to grow into? In the comment section below, you can respond to that. But in the coming weeks, Anaya's birthday is coming up, and I'm super excited to chase after and pursue that daddy-daughter relationship I've heard so much about. Thank you guys so much for watching Protect Your Life, Keep It Network popping. If you're fortunate enough to be doing life with someone else, make sure you watch this video with them, and if they're not around, share it with them. And make sure you hit subscribe and also that notification bell. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your birthday.
Dear TikTok, this video is for educational purposes only. And as a Black woman, I reserve the right to talk about Black issues that affect.
You know who it is? A piece of my mind. You know she's right on time. Here we go.
Black women without being censored for it. Now let's get into it. I seen an article a while ago that I have been wanting to do a video on, and I'm finally going to do it today. And I know you guys are going to agree 100% with this article. So make sure you stick around to the end. Okay, so the article came out in September of 2017. It says straight Black men are the white people of the Black people. And I know we've been saying this all along. However, this article actually puts everything into words. It feels counterintuitive to suggest that straight Black men as a whole possess any sort of privilege, particularly the type of privilege created from them protected by whiteness. In America, we are near the bottom in every relevant metric determining quality of life. Our arrest and incarceration rates, our likelihood of dying a violent death, or likelihood of graduating high school and attending colleges, our employment rates, average net worth. You guys can pause to read the rest because he's basically just setting the tone for why he titled this article what he titled it. He says, intra-racially, however, our relationship to and with Black women is not unlike whiteness's relationship to us. In fact, it's eerily similar. Now, here comes the breakdown. And nowhere is it more evident than when considering the collective danger we pose to Black women and our collective lack of willingness to accept and make amends for that truth. It's a damning and depressing paradox. When speaking about race and racism, we want our concerns and our worries and our fears to be acknowledged. We want white people to at least make an effort to understand that our reality is different from theirs and that white supremacy is a vital and intricable part of America's foundation, and we grow frustrated when they refuse to acknowledge their role historically and presently in propagating it. However, we expect white people to give us the benefit of the doubt because we've trained ourselves to be able to sense it, even in minute and barely perceptible amounts, because our safety depends on our recognition of it. We share how it feels to be stopped by a police officer, or perhaps to walk in an all-white bar and have each eye trained on us, or perhaps to jot down a street in an all-white neighborhood, and we want them to understand how words and gestures they consider to be innocuous can be threatening, even if there's no intention or of malice. Although we recognize not all white people are actively racist, we want them to accept that all benefit from racism, and we become annoyed when individual whites take personal exception and center themselves in any conversation about race, claiming to be one of the good ones and wishing for us to stop and acknowledge their goodness. Sounds familiar, ladies? And it basically says that we do the same thing to Black women. And when Black women ask us to give them the benefit of the doubt about street harassment, sexual assault, and other forms of harassment and violence we might not personally witness, and when Black women tell us that allowing our cousins and brothers and coworkers and other guys to use misogynic language propagates that culture of danger. And when Black women...
Here's the issue that we have. Really, quite honestly, the Black male community, which has been basically dominated by the hip hop culture, right? Hip hop culture is like, what, 75, 80% misogynistic, you know? 2 Live Crew until now. You know, they fought to be able to say explicit things and do explicit things. And maybe that wasn't the right thing. Maybe that wasn't the I mean, we were fighting, it was a way to fight for the rights, but maybe if you ask me, that didn't work out too well. Let me keep this going. So basically, I guess my theory is this. And you're not going to like it. I believe that in the Black male culture right now is at the very least just as misogynist as other cultures, if not more. Maybe if you look into something like certain Muslim cultures abroad, you might see issues, right? You might see issues. But for the most part, in America, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to say as it pertains to America. Who else is so, what other culture puts more women on display than we do? Miss RV breaks it down like this. It does make a difference, Fiona. Healthy families are much better and more important than talking about submission and crying about controlling women all damn day. Boom, bars. Fiona breaks it down like this. Miss RV, it's all about control. They are even shaming women for not wanting children now after chastising Black women for becoming single mothers. Make it make sense. Boom. And that's what's going on. Basically, men want it, at least in our community, it seems like they're leaning much more towards wanting women as a resource and not a relationship. Not having a relationship with the woman, but using women as a resource. Let me get some shout outs in the mix. Miss RV is in the house. Wyatt is Seeking Knowledge is in the house. Fiona is in the house. We also have India in the house. Hibiscus Daffo in the house. Detractors in the house. We're going to keep this going.
women admit how scary it can be to get followed and approached by a man by waiting for the bus or walking home from work. And when Black women articulate how hurtful it is for our reactions to domestic abuse and their grapes and murderers to be what women need to do differently to prevent this from happening to them, instead of what we men need to do differently to prevent us from doing this to them. Their words are met with resistance and outright pushback after demanding from white people that we're listened to and believed, and that our livelihoods are considered. Our ears shut off and hearts shut down when Black women are pleading with us. The effects of racism and metaphysical and literal, and the existential dread of dangers felt when existing while Blacks are not exclusive to Black men and boys. They face the same racism we do, and the same doubts from whites about whether the racism actually exists that we do. And then they're forced to attempt to convince their brothers and partners and their friends and fathers and cousins and lovers of the dangers of existing as a Black woman, and they're met with the same doubts. Hence row, okay? Hash mark row.
Okay. So I hope I didn't keep that wasn't on mute for too long. So here we go. Here's a definition. Let me see if I can bring it up closer, because we need to take a good close look at this. Let me take this off screen just for a second. Misogynoir. Okay. Dislike and contempt or ingrained prejudice against Black women. Misogynoir shows how sexism and racism manifest in Black women's lives to create intersecting forms of oppression. Here's the weird part. Who is the biggest purveyor of that? Who attacks Black women the most with that? Who does that? Who attacks Black women the most with racism and sexism? I think I can bring it up on screen here in a minute. I think I can bring up here we go. Here's one guy. One of many. One of many. Let me give you a little bit of a taste. Little taste coming from Pretty Black Magic 99. Don't forget to like. Here we go.
Okay, let's go with this video. Mr. Peanut Head, Mr. Let Go is always talking about Black women, hair, weaves, and makeup. And it's funny that I told you about these Black males. Most of them are dark skinned, nappy headed, unattractive. They own nothing, they have nothing, they don't create nothing, they don't build nothing, but they're experts on hair, weave, makeup, single mothers, you name it. And that's it, I guess. Y'all's dead daddy, Kitten Heels, didn't show y'all how to build. He didn't show y'all how to create. He didn't show y'all how to get a business, to get the white man off your back, to get rid of white supremacy and racism, but no, they come here to the internet and their job is to bash black women, shame black women, degrade black women. And he's hollering about, well, if a black woman is wearing a wig, weave, she hiding something, she hiding her masculinity. And I said, oh, we know you kings, y'all really want to come out the closet. Y'all are the ones wearing hair, weave, makeup, nails, and lashes. Y'all showing me post many, many videos of different kings that I find on social media. And I said, what is it with the black man? I said, oh, you want to be the new black woman. Funny how they don't know if it's going on these black trans women, because last time I checked, boo boo, that ain't your hair. Black trans women, they don't have no long, silky, flowy hair like these non-black women, but yet you see them walking around with lace fronts on looking like goddamn Naomi Campbell. Yeah, 30, 40, 50-inch wigs and weaves on their motherfucking head. I said, wait a minute, nappy head, that ain't your hair. You ain't got no good hair. You don't have no long, silky, straight hair like that. How come they'll never talk about that? Because they laying up with them trans women at night. This dude here is probably the ugliest of the ugly that I have seen on the internet. And this is why they mad. This is why they mad, black women. They mad because they ugly. I guess when you are part of the bottom of the barrel crew, some of the most unattractive kings on the planet, they have nothing, they don't own nothing, they're not building nothing. Drive through the hood. Ask yourself, who owns any of those grocery stores? When you drive through the hood or go shopping, you see Asian people own those stores, Arabs, all kinds of non-black folks. The kings, they don't own nothing. I said, hey, well, why aren't black men building, let's say, buildings, communities, skyscrapers, stuff like that, owning businesses, anything valuable? White men won't let me. White supremacy, racism, but they love to hop up on these little podcasts, and their goal is to try to make black women look like we are just all ugly, mean, masculine, the most unattractive women. All races of women wear hair extensions, because I know people that work up in some of them high-end salons in a nice part of LA and Beverly Hills. Guess what? A lot of their clients are black women getting sew-ins. Yeah, sew-ins, clip-ins, you name it. And we all know the kings. You can get into the wig shop or the beauty supply without having to compete with them, trying to get hair, weave, makeup, eyelashes, them long, curved nails and all that type of stuff. But I bet you they ain't gonna go in on those trans women, because they know better. They'll get canceled by the trans community. So let's see what this nappy head is saying. Let's watch this.
Her masculinity. Be careful of any wig wearer. If you see her with a wig on, lace front, and all this other stuff.
Now notice how that he's not the best looking guy in the world. He's not a very good looking man. And historically, from what I found out, is that he's divorced. He's been divorced for a long time and hasn't been married again. So that's to be telling you something. And then on top of that, he has a horrible relationship. Let's call it, as he put it, estranged relationship with his father, which is probably the core of the problem. But he brings it to women's doorsteps.
Something.
Yeah, when you see one of these kings, be careful, because he's hiding something. So let's go in on that right quick. Let me see. Hair, weave. Hair, weave. Is it really?
So this is it. He's dissing black women for getting hair, their hair done and weaves and whatever. But black men, that's one of the new uptrend for us. I gave up on it. I just go with a bald head for myself. But some men don't want to do that, or they got funny shaped heads and they need to cover it with hair. Don't think for a minute they're not going to go out and get themselves some shit glued to their head, because they are just as much, if not more, than women. Shout out to El Viajero Pues. Actually, it's not black men unless you're talking about black American men. Correct. I'm talking about black American men and women only. Look at Israel and how they force black female Jews to take a drug to make them sterile. Yeah, that is disgusting. No, I'm definitely talking about American black, because there's too many other different dynamics in other countries, in the Muslim countries and so on, that could very much be more misogynist. But the problem is that in America, you think that with all this racism stuff coming out, that you know, it would be another culture, another race being so hard on black women, but it's not. It's black men. Black men give black women the worst. Black men probably give black women the worst of everything right now, unfortunately. I can't think of any way that black men are actually treating black women better than other cultures in America. In America. So let me keep it going. Here we go.
Yo, hey,
Yeah, Fiona. Yeah, Fiona. I would see you. Dude, Mr. Can't let himself go. He is irritating.
hair weave. I don't know. So these kings, yeah, when you see one of them wearing a wig weave, he hiding something. I can guarantee you he on the DL. He one of them bussy bandits.
Boosie Bandits. Why Seeking Knowledge says this. These men all expect the top tier women. Yeah, they sure do. Yep. And it's funny because they complain about women not being submissive or being, you know, traditional, right? But they running straight over there to OnlyFans and Instagram to find the love of their life. That's the funny part. Anyway, Why Seeking Knowledge says this. These men all expect top tier women. So the women they can access are considered substandard, yep, to them, and not owed respect or proper treatment. Exactly. And what the funny thing about this, Why is Seeking Knowledge, is if you look at these men, I mean, I have seen some men disrespect and call gorgeous black women average at best, ugly, plain, too heavy, whatever. And these men look like round goblins. They really, literally, they look like round goblins. They're out of shape, obese, everything that, you know, everything that Pretty Black Magic says. Let me let her break it down.
He's covering up something. Let's go on this one here. Let's go on this one here. Oh, is that a man weave I see? Yeah, these niggas is getting fake dreads, fake sewings, all kinds of stuff, little toppers on their head. But
you will never know, ladies. Fake dreads, fake sew-ins. They coming after you. They're gonna be competing for their hair in those beauty salons.
I'm gonna talk about that. Let me click on this one here. Let me click on this one here. Wait a minute. Oh, lace front men's hairstyles. Yeah, so when you see one of these kings wearing a wig, he hiding something. He hiding something. Well, we all know they not masculine. So a lot of these dudes are DL, bussy bandits, undercover. And they get really jealous of black women. Let me click on this one here. Ain't that a trans woman with a wig on? Oops, I'm not supposed to say that. So that ain't their hair. Let me click on this one here. Let me click on this one here right quick. Oh, we got another trans woman. That ain't his hair. That's what wig, weave, makeup. Yeah, so I guess he's hiding something too. Let me click on this one here. That ain't his hair. That's a lace front with braids on there. So we're gonna have to call it out. We're gonna have to call it out. They constantly coming for black women. Well, we're gonna come for you, Kane. What form you might come in. So here's another one. Yeah, and let me click on this one here. There's another one. Yeah, that ain't his hair. So what can I say? That's all.
Yeah, let me just put it this way. Funny thing is this, is that really, I know that there's other cultures that show their disappointment in their women, maybe. You know, that's where the manosphere is built. But I haven't seen such a group of men online that have such a disdain for their women as we do. And it's really weird. It's really strange. You know, I think I'm going to go ahead and you want to, just in case somebody wants to come up and talk about this, you know, I'm going to drop the link just in case. Boom. Let me get back into the mix here. Here we go. But I just wanted to show that you know, this aspect right here. Let me go back. Keep this going.
Bro, the same resistance, the same questions. They are not believed in the predominantly white world.
I'm sorry. I should clear up what I meant by playing Pretty Black Magic's clip. I wanted to show you Misogynoir in code. Notice he didn't say, "Oh, I hate black women." He just said stuff that made put black women in a bad light. That's how those fools operate. They just because they don't say, "Oh, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you," doesn't mean they don't. So let me keep it going.
In their predominantly black communities. And when we black men remain either uninterested in sincerely addressing and destructing this culture of danger and pervasive doubt, or refuse to admit it even exists. So just to give credit to the person that is believed to have first said this, that straight black men are the white people of the black community. He gave reference to Mela Mechinko, tweeted, "Cishet black men are the white people of black people," over a year ago, and apparently received so much criticism for it that she temporarily locked her account. But in a conversation we had earlier today, she shared that her tweet was actually a revision of another tweet she'd read a month after Miller's tweet. It was revised again. So they said a mouthful, because we see this all the time on this app. And then also, it's like, as a black woman, I can talk about racism all day, and black men will chime in. They will share stories. They agree with it. They talk about, "Oh, it's so hard being a black man in America." But the second I switch over to talk about how sexism is affecting black women within the black community, then those same black men who was waving their fists with me and raising a red, black, and green flags with me while I was talking about racism, now I'm bitter, or I'm corny for
Right. I mean, that's the funny part. At least in my opinion, pro-black men, they're only pro-black for men. And I'm going to repeat that one more time. Pro-black men are only pro-black for men. Well, we have some folks on stage. Let me go ahead and introduce our people on the stage. We have Darnell and Why is Seeking Knowledge. Darnell, welcome. How you doing?
I'm all right. Just got out the hospital, but other than that, I'm doing good. Hey,
Okay.
I got an error message. I got a message. Says Chrome on Android has a bug that causes echo. Do you guys hear an echo from me right now?
Not at the moment. No, you're just fine.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, let me. Why is Seeking Knowledge? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm just fine, DJ George. I'm new at this, so you guys got to forgive me. Can you hear me?
Sure can. You sound excellent.
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
So why is Seeking Knowledge? Why don't we get started with you? What are your thoughts so far on this?
My thoughts on this are, I mean, it's very complex subject. I see the men are in a very severe situation where they are trying to overcome generations and generations of mistreatment of women. So I can see their defensive stance, not trying to defend them in any way, because we are all subject to them, because they will not assess the problem and address the problem. They are running away from it and blaming the women and white men for it. If they would stand up and take accountability for it and try to change them, we could actually move forward. But I can see you know, that they have a lot on their backs from generations and generations of these type of things with the patriarchy, and you know, all these things that the feminist movement have been trying to change, and they're into a changing society and things like that. They're just totally in denial.
Yeah. Do you believe they were disgruntled because they probably benefit the least from patriarchy? Would you say, would that be a safe assumption?
In a sense, not totally. I think some of it is, yeah, I guess you could say that, because they don't have anything else to base their manhood on as other male groups. I was speaking to somebody about that the other day. A white man, he's not totally offended by a woman kind of standing up and taking charge, because the other white men, they know that white men rule the world. You can't diminish him in any form, because he identifies with all the rest of the white men who rule the world. So he still feels this sense of grandeur because, yes, I'm a white man, and he identifies there. Black men don't have that. So he has to huff and puff his chest and do all the things and degrade his women and all that stuff to feel like he has a leg up or a stand somewhere. So that's kind of where we fall in. If he doesn't demean or degrade us, we're the under him. So he has to grandstand on top of us to actually have some kind of status. That's just my that's just my assumption.
Okay. Would that be the term punching down?
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Darnell? What are your thoughts?
Well, just before I speak, I just want Fiona did say she hears a little bit of an echo. Do you hear an echo now?
I hear background noise, but I don't hear an echo on my end.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep talking, but if it gets worse, just let me know, and I'll swap to another browser. Or I'll swap to my computer.
Yeah. Apparently, it says that it's the Chrome browser that's the bug. I'm on a
Yes, sir.
different browser myself. I'm on you know, I use something else.
Yes.
Go ahead and break it down for us,
Okay.
Darnell.
That was an interesting question that you had raised when you asked. I'm sorry. What was her name? What was her name
Yeah.
again?
Why is seeking knowledge?
Why seeking knowledge? Okay, that was an interesting question you had asked her. You said, is it because black men not benefiting from, the patriarchy as much as our white counterparts? And that is a very good question, to be honest with you. I can't really answer that, but I do believe there is a ring of truth to that. We are, let's face it, black men, we are the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to wealth, power. We are the bottom of the totem pole. I hate to say that, especially being a black man myself, but we have to call a spade a spade.
Right.
So, that's pretty that's pretty interesting. Can you elaborate? I believe you said punching down. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit for me?
Yeah, punching down is a term when basically, technically, I believe black women are supposed to be below black men, right? Is correct. So punching down is, I believe, a term that has to do with men berating somebody beneath them instead of bringing them up.
Mm.
So instead of being a benefit to black women, we are actually piling on them more, if you know what I mean, in a negative way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I could just, especially today, like I said, when right now, things right now, with the growth of red pill, I can definitely see it with the growth of the red pill.
Mm.
I could definitely see that. And it's not to say that red pill is causing it. I just think that you just have too many like-minded individuals. It's called groupthink syndrome. You get too many like-minded individuals,
Mm-hmm.
and the worst just comes out of them. You can look at any group, the Black Panther Party, even the KKK. A lot of people don't know this, but the KKK actually started out as just a bunch of Confederate War civil veterans or Confederate Civil War veterans getting together.
Mm.
That's how it started. And the next thing you know, you had people infiltrating the group, and well, let's start murdering and lynching blacks.
Mm.
Literally, that's how it turned out.
Wow.
You ever seen the movie Forrest Gump?
Yes.
In the very beginning, the very opening scenes, although Forrest Gump is a fictional character, um, basically he ties in the real life to real life
Hmm.
people. And the very opening scene, he says it's either his grandfather or great grandfather, I forget, but was the founder of the KKK, which was Nathaniel Bedford Forrest.
Okay.
Uh, what's interesting is even though he founded the KKK, he actually left the KKK because he felt that they became when they started the murdering, the lynching, and things. He's like, "Whoa, I didn't sign up for this," and so he ended up
Mm.
leaving. He actually apologized to the black community. A lot of people don't know that, but he actually apologized to the black community. I don't think he intended for his organization to turn into what it became, and that's what I see with the Black Manosphere. Now, some of them are probably they're throwing red meat at the crowd. I'll be honest with you. Some of them are throwing some red meat out there,
Right.
but it's like, man, you keep
But
throwing.
but what you're saying is that the original and probably the forefathers of, let's say, red pill in general, not just for black men, probably didn't see it going where it went with black men, where it's having that same similar effect that where it started off as just a group of men, you know, maybe celebrating Confederacy or whatever you want to call it, right? To being a hate group that is actually damaging another community. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's
Okay.
exactly what I'm saying.
Mhm.
I've seen it in the I don't. Do you remember the pickup artist community years ago? It was a
Yes, I
precursor.
sure do.
Yeah, the pickup artist was the same exact way.
Well,
Um,
no one's going to take the stand. And that is the unfortunate thing. There are a lot of good men, in this atmosphere. And I've seen some of the most dire situations where women are assaulted. No man ever comes forward and say, "Well, the man is wrong and that's wrong, and we shouldn't do women like that." That doesn't get clicks. That doesn't get views. In this age of technology, it seems like that's the only thing that's important. And when I remember the Kitten and Heels came about, he was all about man empowerment, and he wasn't bashing women. He didn't grow to the heights that he got until he began to bash black women, and then they came in droves. And he was collecting a lot of money and clicks and views and likes after that. So this is popular, and so that's where a lot of money is made. So that just goes to show it, the mindset of our men is resting in the you know in the sunken place. They are resting in the
Mm.
amniotic fluid, in irresponsibility. I'm not responsible for anything. And they're in the sunken place, sitting there. Is warm, in the warm fluid down there, where they're not responsible for anything. And they don't want to come out into the real world and face anything. That place allows them to do that. So why would you want to come out and actually work and face and be a man, when you can stay nestled down in that nice, warm, sunken place?
Right. Very well said. Very well said.
very very well said, actually. Yes, ma'am. That was. Um, I mean, you do have a point that it seems like the more like a group, in this case, the red pill, um, picks drama or controversy just happens. I don't know why, but in our country, it just happens to sell. You know, like for example, you look in the passport bros community. Uh, you got some passport bros that are just growing because all they've got to do is just show beautiful overseas women. But the ones that are they're talking about, okay, like there's also guys in the passport bro community that are talking about, okay, here's how you can make, like, there's a financial guy I just learned about in the Passport Pro community. All he does is finance. His channel, he doesn't even have, I don't even think he has 1,000 subscribers. I think he's got like 250 subscribers. Not growing, not really going anywhere, but he offers real good advice. Hey, if you want to live overseas, and he gives you good financial advice, you know, and nobody wants to listen to him, but everybody wants to listen to the ones that are showing the beautiful and attractive women. It's just controversy, sex controversy, etc. It's just what sells for whatever reason.
Mm. Yeah, I see a
Because
lot of that
all have
myself.
sinned and come short of the glory of God. You know what I mean? It's all of them have done women wrong. All, like I said, it's like a get out of jail for free card. To blame it all on the white, well, the white man, he didn't do it. If the black woman, she didn't do that. You know, it's like a get out of free. You know, I can feel totally whole as a person and free if I can just set those squarely on the backs of those individuals. And that is a safe place to be, and they enjoy it there. Otherwise, it would cause them to have to be, man, I got to pick up my kids. I got to take them there. I got to treat them. I can't cheat. I get, you know, it puts so much on the back to come out of that space, and it's just too much for them.
I see what you mean. What you're saying is that for them to really grow, there's a lot of dysfunction and bad habits they would have to leave behind, and they're not willing to do that.
I believe so.
That
And
makes a
like I
lot of
said, this is coming. It's a succession of the generation. Like I said, our mothers put up, our grandmothers, they had to sit at home. We didn't get bank accounts until the 70s, and we had to have a man. You know, we sat at home with all the kids. You know, so they're doing, and this is built up. And the woman's like, okay, well, we got this, we got extras, we got our degrees, we stayed focused because we've had all the responsibility grew us. While they said screw those kids, and they ran, you know, and did whatever. We had to batten down with the kids, and that responsibility gave us a lot of strength. So we grew with that responsibility. Since they ran from theirs, they didn't get that strength that came with the responsibilities. So we became, that's why they're the highest degree holders. That's why, you know, we got the degrees, and that's why we got the strength, and that's why we, you know, we grew higher than them because we kept that responsibility, and it made more of us. Since they ran from the responsibility, it didn't grow them, and they're not seeing that part. Okay, and then this is a problem. See, they're not seeing the big picture. They're not seeing how that de-evolved them and evolved us a little bit more. And now they're just resentful for it. If they catch this and say, "Wait, what a minute," you know, but nothing will actually inspire them to wake up and come out of it. There's a few men, but it's like what, 5%? They're always hollering about these unicorns and these, you know, these leprechauns that are around that we do know exist. And I'm glad that I know they exist. They are a few, but they aren't enough to like catapult us out of this where we are, this situation that we find ourselves in.
well said. Melanated Vessel breaks it down like this. They need to be honest that this whole so-called male empowerment spaces grew more because of money and not legitimate concerns. Must be the money. So I hope I said that right. But yeah, so it must be the money. I think that's a strong argument. Miss RV breaks it down like this. Yes, why? It's big money. It's big money in bashing Black women. This is also why they hate men like DJ and target him for calling a spade, as Darnell said. Well said, Miss RV. Let's play a little bit more of this video here.
What misogynoir means and why it has to end. Misogynoir is a term that describes misogyny directed towards Black women.
I don't know if it was a race thing or a lady thing, but I'm mad as hell.
Where race and gender both play roles in the bias. Many people read the word for the first time in Katy Perry's recent tweet. It was in support of Leslie Jones, who experienced racist and sexist threats following a hacking scandal. The term was first coined in 2010 by Northeastern professor Moya Bailey. She used the term to describe the particular brand of hatred directed at Black women in American visual and popular culture. But for Black women, the term...
The painful thing is that the ones who bring the most misogynoir to Black women, at least in my opinion, it seems to be Black men.
echoes a much deeper pain about the double bias against them and how images in popular culture reinforce those negative racist and sexist stereotypes. In fact, a recent survey by Essence magazine found only 41% of Black women say they see themselves portrayed as true beauties in the media. Share if you think it's time we put a stop to misogynoir.
So I guess I should break down my theory because it sounds like it would be very, I wouldn't say controversial, whom depends. I mean, think about it. I think it has to do with proximity, and I think it has to do with, other cultures, they're just minding their own business. So, but at least from what I see, I don't see, I mean, the YouTube is a small place when you think about it. Anybody can go anywhere in YouTube and say anything, to a point. But I don't see too many of these per se racist non-Black people coming over into Black spaces blasting, Black women. I mean, the only person that comes to mind would be somebody like Just Pearly Things. And then who else? It's in a space that is rather large. That's a very interesting thing that she's the only one who's really causing this, who's the only one who's really sharing this misogynoir. She's like it. I mean, I can't think of anybody else. I'm sure there are somebody, somewhere. But for the most part, she's the only one non-Black woman I know that's making this attack on Black women. She's literally attacking Black women a lot. There are more Black women in the manosphere attacking Black women than there are any other culture or race. And there's way more Black men from the manosphere attacking Black women than any other race I know, at least in the United States. If I'm wrong, let me know. But let me know, people, because right now that's what I see, and that's what really hurts and kills me. Is like, man, we are our own worst enemy. We are going after our own women. That is just crazy to me.
Does Miss Pearly Things attack Black women, or I mean, because like I used to be subscribed to her channel, and it seemed to me like she attacked pretty much women in general, and the majority of the women on her panels seem to be white women. Again, I haven't watched her show in months now. I'm no longer subscribed to her channel, so I can't say the change.
Okay. Last I checked, she had a lot of Black women on her panel, and even went as far as flying half the manosphere out there to see her.
Yeah.
Remember, she had Melanie King out there. She had MTR out there.
Yep.
And they're Black. And then I know she has at least 3 Black women that are regulars on her show. So it's hard for me to think that. Let me pull up something. She mad at me, so I ain't even gonna pull up one of her videos, to be honest with you.
No, you got her attention, huh?
She mad at me. I ain't pull up none. But no, I would have to almost disagree to say most of the time when she's speaking about women, she has Auntie on there as well.
Yeah.
And remember that when they had that little big argument with blue hair, the woman with blue hair, and they had Melanie King going in on her and calling her all this, trying to call her a truffle and everything. And then come, come 2 weeks later, she's on the NPR show, you know, coming on to him and saying how she'll take off her shirt for $5,000 super chat. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
So,
I remember that one.
I
yeah,
believe
that
she
was kind of
just
weird.
used. I believe she just used the manosphere at that point because I believe she really didn't have a big viewer base at that time, and they were really thirsty. And black men chase white women. They love
Mm.
white women. She's not a looker by any means. I don't think she would have gotten chosen by any white man. She's very dull, she's not a looker. She's not an OnlyFans, something you would want to find down there unless you had some type of fetish. So okay. So she's not a look. She's not. So she has this animosity towards the pretty women. You can just look at her and tell that. But black men, they'll take them fat. They'll take, Cynthia G had this special where who they really choose. She looks like one of the who they really choose things. And she did have a black boyfriend at one time. So I
Mm-hmm.
think in order to pump up her channel, she just kind of created that sentiment. She probably did feel bitter about pretty women. She probably were looking at them all her life, like, they were all choosing all the nice boys were choosing the pretty girls. And she probably already had this little vitriol, and so she jumped into the channel with it and it blew her up. We're still talking about her today.
Yeah. I mean,
So she used them and then she put Fuentes on there and then threw them all off. They felt really used behind that because they all got called out, behind, them jumping on board with her thinking that she was just the absolute truth. And then she showed them who they really were.
I mean, I have to be honest with you, ma'am. Was falling for the bait when I was one of her subscribers at one time.
Mhm.
Even I was falling for that bait, and I didn't see it. I'll tell you what freed me and what pissed me off was her trying to give a Black history lesson. I don't know if you ever saw that. She did I don't think it was a live. I think it was just a video. It might have been a live. I can't remember. But she had a Black girl. She said this Black girl is her friend, or Black woman is her friend. You know, and I mean, I swear the Black woman was. I'm not saying she was dumb, but she was acting really, really dumb. And Pearl is trying to teach her Black history. And Pearl had just rewrote Black history. I mean, you talk about whitewash. I mean, it was whitewash, and that's what pissed me off. You know, and you know what scares me
Right.
is the biggest thing that scares me about that is because I noticed white supremacist talking points are entering the Black manosphere, and when I saw that, it just kind of made me think. I was like, my grandfather's gone. Excuse me, both of my grandfathers are gone. Both of my grandmothers are gone. My great grandmother's gone. Everybody's gone. The only people I got left that can remember the days of segregation, and they were little kids at the time, so they don't really know it like an adult would have. My mom, my dad. I got a couple uncles. They remember segregation and things of that nature, and when they pass, our history is gonna be forgotten. So when you got people like just Pearly Things and and I'm sorry to get on Fresh. I'm a Fresh and Fit supporter, and I'm sorry to get on them about this. But when they talk, Fresh and Fit do even talk about a few things about. It seems to me like it's like they're whitewashing history. Young Black people are going to believe this, especially the Black men are going to believe this, and that we're going to forget our history. And those that can't remember the past are always doomed to repeat it.
Well, if we don't have families, if we keep having all these baby daddies, you know what I mean, that don't build, families, and that's like a big detrimental thing to, building, structure in families as well. I mean, this thing is going on for too long until our men wake up and actually come into play. Do we wonder why our race doesn't get any respect from other races? I've heard Black men say things like, "Oh, the Mexicans come here, they don't do them like us. They marry their women, they raise their kids." They do just like they emulate the actions of the dominant male group. They take them on vacation to Disneyland in the summertime. They do these things. The Pakistanis, they come over here. What they do, they marry their women. They move, they work all day and they marry their women. All of the Indians, they all come here. They marry their women. They have children. The black man runs around, at the largest scales and doesn't stabilize. No other man group that does that is going to look at the black man and respect him the same. If the black man would do that, he would have a more powerful position, but he's too busy hating his woman. He will never be respected by other male groups when their manhood is based on them being that man that way. So when he looks at the black man, he's looking at him as a lesser creature because he doesn't behave and perform that way he does as a man.
I agree.
He has to fix that. And he can't keep that. So he's trying desperately to say, no, it's her. It's her fault. That's not working.
Not in the least bit. It's almost like I guess I feel like a lot of men feel like they have been put on the spot, and instead of taking leadership and stepping into the role or at least trying to build themselves, they are trying to bail out and hide behind or blame black women. That's pretty much what I see so far. And the thing is that they might see me saying that as a detrimental thing. It's more of me trying to coach them up and go, hey, look, you got a long ways to go, bro. You need to build yourself up. If you get to the point where you're complaining about somebody who's minding their own business, then regardless, it's on you. It's on you. There's something in your life that's not going on right. And the problem is that there's so much of this going on. Let me pop on this next video. Let's check out this next one. Here we go.
Welcome back. It's time for our weekly edition.
Let me pause that for 1 second while I get the volume up. Trying to make sure we get good sound in here. All right, here we go.
ENT, say what?
All right, this is City Line. The City Line. Make sure you like and subscribe. Let's get in on the roll.
Well, today we're talking about some celebrity gossip that actually highlights a bigger issue. Many of you probably heard rapper Megan Thee Stallion was shot in both her feet in early July, reportedly by Canadian rapper Tory Lanez. Now, shortly after the news broke, people online started cracking jokes, making memes, or ignoring the attack altogether. And the reason why this stood out to me was because I definitely felt, and I'm not alone here, that this was a prime example of misogynoir. Misogynoir is the intersection of being Black, so race, and being a woman, your gender, combining together in a special type of racism/sexism that is very unique to Black women. I thought it was outrageous that jokes were being launched about this 20-something-year-old young woman who was shot in both feet. And I just thought it highlighted a bigger issue of the idea that Black women are never protected in the media, by police, by other celebrities. We had celebrities.
Now, I'll say this. I won't say never, but let's just say Black women get a lot less protection. A lot less protection, to the point where it's close to never, but not quite there yet.
Like Chrissy Teigen, 50 Cent, Cameron, all busting jokes at Megan's expense. And I think that if the celebrity had been Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande, I don't think we'd be seeing the amount of jokes we saw with Megan. And so this is what I wanted to talk about today with you. Tracy, what's your take on this?
It's so sad because I just feel that as Black women, we aren't protected. I don't think we're very protected by the media. We're not very protected by any other groups. And we're not even protected sometimes and it hurts a lot by our own people, particularly our men sometimes, because it becomes whether people are making fun of our looks, weaves and hairs and our hairstyles, whether they're making fun of our traits, and then sometimes it's our pain, you know. So
remember when I was playing that that you can't let himself go clip? So it's not, it's just like in racism. It's not just somebody who walks around and goes, I hate N-words. They don't say that. It's just the same thing in the Black manosphere. They don't say, I hate Black women. They don't. Well, some do.
Yeah.
But it's the berating with the berating, the constant berating pattern that comes out.
Yeah,
That's what I see.
Kind of a what do they call it? Like a passive aggressive attack, kind of sort of.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I think SBE, Shame, Blame, Explain, explains it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, average at best. And the
And
funny thing,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
and I was just going to say, and the funny thing would be if you saw the men that say this woman or that woman is out, average at best, or Big Shirley, these men are Fat Alberts and Dusty at best. I'm sorry, White. Go ahead.
And the worst part of listening to the ridicule and the demeaning of the Black men is, I mean, it's looking at the plight of Black women and looking at our actions as Black women. We have always supported them regardless of what we've been through. We've raised them, we've loved them, and this is what we get back in return, is listening at their hatred of us, at their sheer vitriol to us. I mean, I'm realizing a lot of this. I had no idea that it was so grand. You know, the internet has really opened up and taught us a lot about how they really feel toward us. Meanwhile, we're still giving them chances, and then we get really should have chose better. We get dogged out for trusting them still and having hope in them still and still having faith in them still when the whole world is against them. We still have faith in them. We still try with them, and then they dog us out for that too, and berate us and belittle us for still having faith in them when the whole world counts them out. That's how they pay us back.
Exactly. It's basically it's a scenario of damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I do have to disagree with you, you know, on your point, you know, that, you know, all Black women have supported Black men and this and that. That's, to be honest with you, that's not true. Now, we'll agree with you that, yeah, I mean, there are good Black women out there. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of wonderful Black women. There's also bad Black women that do trash Black men, that do.
Okay, so what percentage of those bad Black women would you say are out there?
Oh, Darnell, we have our unicorns too, but it's just the opposite with us.
Yeah, I'm guessing DJ Torch, and this is a guess, but I would say 1 out of 5 Black women, and again, I'm guessing, maybe 1 out of 6.
So basically, overall, 20%.
Yeah, let's call it 20%. As far as bad Black men, I would say more than likely 2/3. And again, that's a guess.
So 75%.
That would be 66%.
It was 2/3?
Yes. Yeah, 3/4 would be 75%.
Okay, that's true. Okay. So let's think this out then. So what you're saying is that every 6 of 10 Black men are bad, every 2 of 10 Black women are technically bad. Those are, I mean, basically the thing is that I would have to side more with Y as far as it being more of a unicorn. I don't really see, because think about it like this. Even with the divestment movement, which would probably be where you're getting your 2 from, right?
Not necessarily. Actually, I support the divestment movement.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying, hey, go out and don't date black guys anymore. I'm not saying that, but I am saying keep your options open. Don't be race loyal. Keep your options open. You know,
Right.
look for quality, not because oh well, I have to. Well, I gotta find
Okay.
me a black
So
guy.
what time when you describe these this 20% of women that are bad and beat up on black men,
Mhm.
describe where you've seen this or where you've noticed they are.
Well, I've had personal experience. Um, you know, I've also had, and I kind of, not just myself, but also I've also had friends that were married and they would tell me stories, or coworkers of mine, that would tell me stories.
I mean, what kind of stories are we referring to?
Well, like one guy, he actually wasn't a bad guy, but I'm not gonna lie to you, he had just got out. He was on parole, just got out of prison.
Well, there
But
you go.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, as a coworker, I only knew him as a coworker, and I gave him a ride home once, and that was about
Right.
it.
Darnell, you are a grain of rice in the ocean. You do know this, right?
I believe I think I understand what you're trying to say. Basically, I'm just like a grain of, basically, I'm just.
Yeah, I think statistics would probably be a better measure. I mean, it's not accurate, but it would be a better measure if you looked at the women who actually have their kids. If you look at the statistics and the men who have their children, there are some women who don't have their children. The mother has them or the grandmother has them, things like that. Those type of derelict women, you can have a percentage of those. And the women who actually kept their children and the fathers who actually have and kept their children, like 5%. That figure is kind of like it's kind of like a projection onto the men who are actually in their children's lives, and those type of men are usually more um, have more capabilities as men and or more up and coming men and people who enact manly characteristics than the ones that like to run around and jump from bed to bed and mistreat women. So those to me seem like they kind of go hand in hand. So that if we compare those statistics with how many men are really real men out here and fake men and real women out here and women that are just really not cut right, those seem like they pair together to me in the studies that I've looked at and seen. I can't pull them up for you verbatim right now, but they seem to equal one another. They are not where you got 1/3 of women that act like that. Okay, we don't get the opportunity to run and do the things that men do. We can't just absolve ourselves and hit the door. We have to face our responsibilities as a general rule. We don't have to dump off on and just run off and be derelicts and sit in the sunken place and enjoy amniotic fluid and blame it on somebody. So there's more of a potential for men to actually do that, which is why they kind of stay there.
Well, I just have to correct you. I didn't say 1 out of 3 women are bad. I said black women are bad. I said 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5.
That's 20%. No, that's 20%.
Correct. And that's what I said. You said I said 1 out of 3.
Okay. I thought I heard you say they were floating statistics. I thought I heard 1/3 at one. I thought you heard 2/3 statistics and 1/3 at one time. So they floated. So maybe I missed one.
It was 2/3 of black men. So I do agree with you that black men, in my opinion, there are probably more bad black men or negative black men, whatever phrase you want to use. There are more than bad black women, but I do believe it is a cultural issue.
All right, I'd like to welcome to the stage, Camo. Camo, welcome to the stage.
Hey, happy birthday, Darnell. Well, happy belated birthday. How you doing while seeking knowledge? I
Hello.
love it because of the statement that Darnell made about it. It kind of like always like confused me when I hear black men online, because there's a difference. I think when we're talking online and then you have real life, it's totally different. And I think some people can't separate what's going on with the demographic online from what is real life. And when Donnell said, "Oh, he objected about black women supporting black men," the majority of black women support black men. They support black men more than they support black women. And I would even argue to say that they would choose that the majority of black women will choose black men over their children. I mean, and
Yeah.
that's just me. I'm just going to say that. So I don't know where these men online is getting this stuff from. That it doesn't matter what black men do. There's always going to be black men and black women that support them. It doesn't matter. In every situation, you can look. Even if we was to just talk about celebrity situations, look at like Megan Thee Stallion, and even right now with Keke Palmer, you have not only black men but black women going against her. So in these situations, it's totally different. When it's women, women got to deal with that. Not only black men, but also black women going against her. Had the situation been totally different, and Tory, which is this Canadian, mind you that he's not even an American person. That he came to America and shot an American black woman, and that her people, her community went against her. Not just black men, but black women as well. Had he been a black man, and he could have been a complete bandit, like just a horrible person.
Right.
The entire community would have rolled with him, because that's what we do. So like I don't like this online persona that's going on, or this that's happening. It just needs to stop, because it's not reality. The reality is that the majority of black women, the small percentage of, even online, there's a very small percentage of black women that want to take care of themselves and not have that want to put themselves first, and is tired of being the backbone of the community, and tired of being stepped on, and want to seek change. I'll say there's this very small amount that actually speak out about it online. The rest of them are mammies. They even in the manosphere, they're everywhere. Even the ones that's in some of the ones that's in the BWE space will still choose a black man over a black woman. It's true.
Well, I got a question for both you ladies on the panel, Ms. Chamo and I'm sorry, why knowledge? Okay.
Yeah, why is seeking knowledge?
Oh, why is seeking knowledge? Okay, I'm gonna get it. Have some patience with me, but I'll get it. But I have questions for both of you. Do both of you have like brothers or male cousins in your family?
I do.
Yes, I had a father, brothers, cousins, uncles, all of that. Yes.
Any of them? Well, let's skip your father and your uncles, because more than likely you're not going to give them advice. But maybe you have brothers or cousins. You might have noticed them with a woman that she just seemed, in your opinion, she was just no good. Have you ever told your brother?
Give me a minute. I'm gonna come back.
I'm sorry, Darnell. I didn't hear the last of your question.
Yeah, Darnell, if you can repeat.
Yes. So basically, have you ever gave advice to your brothers or cousins? Let's skip your father and your uncles, because they're older, but siblings around your age, to include cousins.
Yes, I've given advice to a number of males before. Yes.
Yeah, your male family members. And how many of them did you tell them, hey, that dated a woman that you just felt there's just something wrong with her?
Only two.
Two.
Yes.
Out of about how many would you say?
Only my family members, because I have a bunch of male friends, and most of the time it was them cutting up.
Well, let's just keep it to
If
family
you want to
members.
just, okay, so that's like making me cut the stats down. If it was only family members, it was two women with one individual, and that was my brother. He has a propensity to have reckless women.
Okay. So I mean, so you would acknowledge that there are some women that happen to be black. They just happen to be black. It's not because they're black, but they happen to be black. That yes, that there are just some negative women out there.
I
Correct.
don't think there's any statistic that, there's always a percentage. You have a birth control pill, nothing is 100%, it's 99.9. Even when you got paternity, your kid is yours, it's 99.9. There's no statistic that's 100%. I mean, this gets barked at us by the manosphere all the time. We can't even bring a point to them. They just holler this not all the time. This should be something that is known. I mean, you can speak on something confidently if you have 68 point something percent. I should be able to make a statement without somebody screaming not all. We should understand generally that nothing is 100% that we speak on, and it shouldn't be an act of defense to say not all. We waste a lot of time in conversation screaming not all. And I understand it's not all, and not all women are good. I'm not defending every woman. I don't like this a lot of situations that go on with a lot of women. I don't think they represent us well. Like this Chris Sean thing or whatever that has to beat up everybody she get close to, stuff like that. This portrayal as black women, that we see sometimes in the internet and stuff like that. So it's not all, there go that not all thing, So every character of every woman is not the same. You have your percentages or whatever that don't meet par or whatever you want to call it. So we don't have to keep speaking on this not all situation. I think it wastes a lot of time. When we can speak in the general grand scheme of things, we should be able to eloquently have conversation and address topics without mentioning that little 5% in the corner that we forgot about.
Well, the only and I'll move off of it, but the only thing I was bringing up is that I have a theory. Okay, and again, this is just a theory, but I think we're doing it to each other. So basically, black men that get scorned by black women, they tend to become join these. I believe the term misogynoir. I believe the term was.
Mm-hmm.
They join all these groups. The red pill community. They become radicalized. The passport bros. The whatever. And I see the same thing when it comes to women when they date horrible men, and unfortunately, there's more horrible men out there than there are women. So
let me ask you this question. I mean, I don't agree with you because the issues that the women are bringing up are serious issues in this community. And then when we talk about those issues, nobody wants to talk about it because then they'll say, oh, you're bashing black men because black men can't separate themselves from other black men. So even if you're a good black man, if we're discussing that there is a problem, with, violence that's going on against women and children, black men will get upset, even though they consider themselves to be the good black men that also are victims of these issues, these violent crimes. Black men get upset about that. We're not talking about your beard spray and cornrows and dreads and all this other stuff that we may not like, and we're not discussing that. It may come up every now and then, as a rebuttal to, your conversations, because we do discuss that. That's all you talk about. We can easily talk about many things that is physical that we don't like about you, but we literally discuss real issues that is happening in the black community that you don't want to talk about because you call that bashing black men. But at the same time, those very same black men can have those discussions and call those, because they'll call them Pookies. Oh, that's the Pookies and Ray Rays, and they doing this and they doing that. But when black women tell you that it's an issue, because Pookies and Ray Rays, and so you call them, every man that commits a crime, even though it's not all poor black men that's committing crimes, serious crimes, it's not. But of course, every time one happens, it's like, oh, you chose him and you knew he was a bad person. Even if he a banker, he a lawyer, he a doctor, he's anything. It's like, oh, well, it's always, the goalposts move forward. So there's a total different conversation that's happening, but you don't hear it that way. And I think you do hear it. I think you hear it, but I think there's some type of shame because I don't think that you know what to do, that you have the capability of changing anything. So now it has turned into like a blame game of like, oh, you choose. So every time a Black woman, so basically what you're saying, and then when Black women say, okay, well maybe maybe the correction to this is not to date Black men at all, or just to be celibate, those women get bashed. Oh, you're, you hit the wall, and you just don't want you're femcel, and you're this and you're that, and all these other things, because maybe that woman don't want to date out of her race. Maybe she just would rather just be alone because she feared dating because everything that's and all the issues that's happening. And then when it gets to the white media, then it's it's a racist issue. When actually you could have got ahead of it before the white media did. But when the community brings it to you, such as the women and the children, then it's bashing and all these other things. So there's no win. The conversation of dating all the time, this is what I hear from red pill and Madison people about dating and all this other stuff. Like, that is the most important thing, is dating and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem I see in the Black community is men that aren't really ready to date. I'm gonna just pause you for 1 second. The problem is that men men that are not ready. They're mentally unstable, or they're mentally depressed, or some sort of thing. Instead of fixing that problem first, they focus more on trying to attract or have sex with women. I won't even call it dating. I don't even think they want to date. I think they're just trying to date just because they know that's what they have to do to have sex.
Yep.
That's what I'm convinced of. So if they didn't have to date, if let's put it this way, if you ask one of these guys in the manosphere, would you want to just go on a booty call or go on a date and what do you call it? And actually, go on a date and there's no expectation of sex. They would 90% would pick, well, I want the booty call.
Yes, I have to concur with you, DJ Torch, on that. Even in the manosphere, again, my favorite red pill show, Fresh and Fit, they even tell you you should have sex with like 50 different women before settling down. Now, I don't agree with that, but who's to say number 15 isn't the one? Who's
right?
Who's to say number 50 is the right one? You just don't know. So, but
hey, for a lot of happy men, number one was enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Let me.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I mean, I definitely agree with that. And then, in my opinion, you're also contributing to the problem.
It seemed like to me you just have a bunch of sexually frustrated men online, because when my time in the military, I had this conversation with somebody, I think a couple of days ago, and I was discussing this stuff online with like the red pill and all these people or whatever. And it was kind of new to me when I came to to this space, around 2021, 22, something like that, because I never knew, I guess because I was in the military for so long, and people, regardless of whether you're not that attractive or anything, being in the military, you automatically as a man that have resources. So you can be the least unattractive man, and you may have a wife, and even a girlfriend at the same time. Like, the least of your worries is like not being able to get a woman. And in my family, I don't know any men that's running around talking about not being able to get a woman that they desire. not even my own son. And I've had this conversation, and he broke it down in his own way. And some of it is truth of like what he says. He said the same thing. My son is 6'4", 6'5". He's a basketball player. He's attractive, so he doesn't have much issues of getting women. And he made it clear to me that like, well, in today, like women is not going the same way. These not the women from your time. And if you are not attractive, then you need to come with some money. And who am I to say to blame them or whatever the case may be? But at the same time, I'm assuming it's women that I guess there's like, to me, I see the same argument of like men to women, because you'll have a certain kind of man say, well, these women don't want guys like me. No, the women that you're chasing don't want guys like you. There's women that will want you, you just don't want them. And those very same women may possibly feel the same way about a certain kind of guy as well, that they feel like they deserve, and that don't want them. But there is a guy that will want to talk to them. So it's like a bunch of like BS to me with this conversation online. But anyway, in reference to the Black community, I would think clearly we don't have a problem with mating. It's very clear that there's no mating problem here, right, as far as like getting together.
I have to disagree with that, ma'am. It's not even just in the red pill. Is that me? Is that me echoing?
Oh no, that's Cam. Cam, I got to put you on mute just for a second. Unmute when you want to speak, Camo.
I just wanted to say real quick. So I have seen it's the issues. The news reports have now left the manosphere and red pill yada yada community, and now it's gone mainstream. I mean, like actual a Pew Research study was done, and it was reported by CNN. Fox News picked up on it, and that guy on HBO, what's the comedian? Bill Maher. Bill Maher picked up on it, and it turns out that 2 out of 3 men ages 18 to 30 are single, while only 1 out of 3 women 18 to 30 are single. 1/3 of those men that are 18 to 30 are virgins. Whereas I believe it's only like 15% of those women reported being virgins. And again,
okay, what race are these men?
When you're in your prime. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What race are these men?
I believe it included all races and gender. I don't think they broke it.
But we're talking about the Black community. We're not talking about other races of men. We're speaking in generally right now about the Black community.
Well, even so, now think about
even with that, with like the majority of Black people are together. That's what I'm saying. The majority of Black women are with Black men, and the majority of Black men are with Black women. And so that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there are much bigger problems in the community. Much bigger problems than relationships. Like I really don't understand. Like it's basic to me. It's embarrassing that Black men spend so much time online. They could spend so much time online talking about relationships. Well, in the same breath, can talk about injustice and not being equal, not having equal pay to their white counterparts and all these other things, and all the things that's happening in the community. They could have spent just as much. How many years has it been? About 10 years, a little over 10 years that this stuff has been going on the internet, and look how big it has gotten. Imagine if they would have used that time to speak about those inequalities that was happening with them, instead of just dating. It's like a circle conversation that keep going around. It's the same. How many more conversations do we have to have? It's to the point now where it's a joke. No one even takes it serious anymore.
They tired from slavery. They worked for 400 years. Now you want to make them be responsible for something and work. They want to stay in the sunken place and sleep where there's no responsibility. They're going to stay in the red pill. They not responsible for nothing. Let that black woman shoulder it. Let that white man shoulder it.
You got black men going overseas asking men, do you like black women? Like, it's just embarrassing. It's
They
just
want
crazy.
a slave to cook and clean and free access to some relations.
To me, I don't know. Like, I don't know what any, like, I have, from what I have seen in my, few years, not just talk about my age, but like I said, I do have a kid in college, it'll tell you something about how old I am. I have seen black women that is willing to do anything for black men. Cook. These men don't even be their man. Don't even. It's no commitment in sight. And they already done had 5 kids, cook, clean like a wife, all kind, bring food to your job, everything.
Your son plays college ball?
Yes.
Oh,
You conquered land, then they get bored. Now they need another challenge.
But I'm just trying. When I first heard this, it freaked me out because I'm like, what black women are they talking about? I'm confused. Like, where are these women? And it's another thing. A lot of times, like the women that they chasing are not that. That's not what they want to do. They're into a different lifestyle. You're gonna pay them to have their time, and you're mad about that. You want to turn women that is that wants to profit from you taking their time into like wives, and it's not gonna happen. It's just ridiculous. Like, when is this gonna stop? And when we say when we speak about women, yes, but there is many black women that give their time to men that do not deserve it, and it needs to stop. But even so, and now that black women are stopping it, that's a problem too. Because I don't know if, all of the things that have been being said online and this nuanced talk about dating that has been picked up is now like becoming a thing and it's getting around. So like the men who thought maybe that they were like the prize is realizing that you are the men that you're telling women to stay away from, and now you don't even have access to them women. I feel like black men for a very long time had a very good deal where black women were stuck in a space of black men are oppressed. You got to give them a chance, speak life into them, and just celebrate them, and then they're gonna get on their feet. No matter, you could be a doctor, and he could be working at CVS or something, and you should give him a chance, and just speak life into him. And black women did that for a long time. Black men did this to themselves when they joined the red pill community and all this other stuff and start talking crazy. Why would women still want to deal with you and you don't even appreciate them? Why? You don't appreciate the fact that these women was like, okay, yes, our men may not be on the top of everything, but we're going to support them anyway, and we're going to stay loyal to them. You didn't appreciate that. So why should they? What do you think? What did y'all think was going to happen?
Well, you ever heard the saying or the age-old question that nobody knows the answer to this day? What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm just gonna say that y'all didn't think that out. When y'all started this talking, what y'all thought was gonna happen didn't happen. It just backfired.
Well, basically, I use that as that question as a metaphor. So when you had said that black men just started going to red pill spaces, well, what actually came first? Did they have bad experiences and then join the red pill? Or did they just decide to magically join the red pill?
Know what happened? They were already attacking women. They had already been attacking women. We had generations and generations of mistreatment by black men. Generations and generations of it. by that time. So they were already in a defensive mode. We had already had plenty by the 80s, 70s, 80s. We had had such upticks in fatherless homes. There had been such mistreatments of black women long before this red pill manosphere ever came into play. So, like, I feel sorry for the good black men that we have in this era and this time, the leprechauns and the Enochs and the things and whatever that are here now in this time, and they have to deal with the brunt of what these males have generated and created, of the impression of the men that we have now. Because they have to exist as these good men in this ocean, of derelicts, and they have to identify, and they have to deal with what they have been dealt, with these generations of people who have been misbehaving and not treating the women right, and leaving us to be viewed as we are viewed today, amongst the other racial groups, in the world, how we are perceived. Okay, so I really feel for them. But these people that got the manosphere, they had already had to shoulder, and in the women, the attitudes that were brought down, and what we saw from our mothers and our grandmothers, them raising all the kids, and the man, and the woman getting beaten and this and that, and the grandma got to raise all the kids and this and that. That had been seen before there was any internet. Okay, so when they came, they're already feeling defensive, and they already had inherited the toxic masculinity out on the street corners in the 70s. Yeah, man, my woman, and they're listening to this. I don't care how good you raise them without daddies in the home. Where they learning manhood from? They out on the corner. Yeah, man, this and that, and they listening to all that stuff about, yeah, I left her and this and that, all this crap. So they learning all this toxic masculinity. All this stuff has been passed down. That your mother is not gonna. Your mother gonna tell you, open the door, do this, do that. Where you think they learn all this derelict behavior from? Where you think you still saw all these fatherless children, them leaving these houses and this, when they was raised by a woman? She's not gonna tell them to do those things. He got all that toxic masculinity listening to other males learning how to be a man by a bunch of men who were not raised by men. Generation after generation, the toxicity grows like a darn avalanche. And that's what we got right now. These men are just hyper toxic. And that's where we get the manosphere from. That's where all this mess is coming from. And like I said, for them in the ball right now, they have inherited all of that. So it's too big and it's too profound for them to address. So they just running from it, and they don't want to face it. In order to face it, they can't. They got to come out of it. Like I said, it's more comfortable to stay subverted and act like, oh, what is it? It's them. It's them. Because it's gonna take one hell of a fight to stay at home with them families and do the man thing. Because it's not fun. It's fun to go run in the street and just jump like a pogo stick through women all day long and claim no responsibility. If you had your choice to do, okay, I can work real hard like John Henry building a railroad track, or I can just take a pogo stick, boing, 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 and jump through women. Which one would you pick? Come on now, it just don't make any sense as a man, and that's what they do. This is basically that simple for them. They really don't possess a deeper emotional nothing. It's like they surface dwellers. It's just that simple. You want red candy or pink, and it's just that simple for them. They don't dive deeper when they make these type of decisions. They can do it at a heartbeat. Okay, and it's sad that that's where we exist at, but that's what's been going on, and that's what we're living with and through it until, I don't know. Like you say, until somebody said, yeah, forget that in the chat. I don't know if I have any hope of our men actually coming out of this. I don't know what would be, a device or, would actually pull them up out of here and make them realize it, because I've seen everything tried, and I haven't seen anything be effective.
And this is like really like, even with like the passport bro situation, like no one cares like who you go and date, but it just shows you how, with the mindset of these men of like, not only, so I'm gonna leave the country, which is great, and go find a wife, and that's good for you. Like I want that for you. But the mindset of like, oh yeah, and then I'm gonna go online and just talk about it, like, and talk about black women and how, oh yeah, they down bad because all these black women is leaving, which is not black men are leaving, which is not true. I have not heard, like, I don't even in my regular life, I don't know anyone who know what a passport bro is actually. But the fact that you think that that is like normal to like talk about your community in that way, and then and for the world to hear it and then think that there's going to be some type of respect level for you
But
is
that's why
ridiculous.
they do it. I'm sorry, that's why they do it. They go over there. They're trying to prove to the world that the problem is not them. If they can't just go in peace and say, okay, well, yeah, well, can't find what I want here. I'll go over there. They're still reaching back and clapping back, trying to blame the lick. See, it really hurt. Made me go, why can't they just go in peace? This has been said on so many different platforms in so many different ways. We don't care who you date. Just go over there. Bye. I mean, I've seen it so many times, but they can't afford to do it because they know that they're the culprits. Deep down, they really do. So they still keep trying to convince the world over and over. Everybody knows it's them. So they're still screaming out on these platforms. Look, it really hurt. Even though they all the way over there in Brazil, they still hollering. Yep, it was her. Made me come. And like you said, it just makes them look so dumb. It just really does. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry to interrupt you, sweetheart. I'm backing out.
Yeah, it's just really crazy to like do that. As we know, black women was traveling more. You didn't hear black women making these loud, yeah, I was over in Europe and them guys, and I was in, the Middle East and them guys do this and, all this other stuff. It's very ignorant. It's just really crazy. It makes you look even worse. To society, is that the stereotypes of black men, it feeds into that stereotype of they don't care about their people, their legacy, their lineage, or anything. Look what they're doing. Look, the white men have been doing this stuff for a long time. You don't hear them saying, on a loudspeaker, loud. Yes, I see some of the comments that some of them leave because there are some white spaces that has like I guess what we consider like a passport bro or whatever, and they are older white men and they go over to the Philippines and all this other stuff, but it's not on a loudspeaker for the world where it's gone viral and all this other stuff. You don't hear that because they care about their image. Even if that's how you feel, you would have some type of pride in who you are. Just as a man, that I'm just not going to be that. I'm going to quietly do what I do to be happy and live my life. And I feel like I'm happier outside of the United States. And I'm going to try to, live a whole new life somewhere else. And then you're happy and you go.
But they can't do that. Their image is damaged. And by all costs, they are going to try to save it because we do live in a patriarchy. This is a patriarchy. So there is a pecking order amongst men. And I think this is something that for them, they can't get over being at the bottom of. Okay, so they have to claim stake somewhere, which is why they bash their women. It's like, at least I'm not at the very bottom. There is a woman under me. Somebody's under me. So they keep emphasizing that they are not at the very bottom because at least there's something under me. And it's the woman. Because they never go at, they always claim the white man is their problem. You never see them going against them. They're always going under them to attack their own woman. They think that this actually gives them some respect or some kind of, levity or something like that, but it actually makes all of us look bad because we are in a patriarchy. The men are looking at the men of our group and judging us accordingly. So it makes all of us look bad. That's all it's doing. And they think they're getting points or something, and they're not.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, man, why do you feel we're still in a patriarchy?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Why do you still feel we're in a? Why do you feel that we're still in a patriarchy?
Why don't you feel like that?
Because data suggests that nowadays, women now, 40% of women are now the head of the house.
Well, if there's no man in the house, of course they're going to be the head of the house. If there's like divorce and all these other things, of course their immediate household, they're going to be the women of the head of the household because they're the one who bring the income in. But when we talking about in a national sense of the United States of America, we live under a patriarchy. Even you.
the head of all the Fortune 500 companies, the heads of all the news outlets, okay, the heads of all the construction companies, the heads of almost everything, the heads of all the municipal governments. Tell me what percentage of those are men. You're going to tell me that we're not in a patriarchy. You talking about households because the men desert them or find reasons to be divorced from women because they don't want to treat them right? That's not an
No,
accurate thing to say that whether we're in a patriarchy or not. That's not an accurate thing to bring forth as a demonstration.
actually, that statistic deals with married couples. So it has nothing to do with single parents.
Has nothing to do with the patriarchy.
But, well, I mean, that does. I mean, because now if more women are running the household now,
They're not
more
running
women.
the country though.
Yes and no. I mean, you do have female representation in Congress. You have female senators. You have.
We all work for men. We work for men. The people who run this country are men. We all work for men. They're the ones who pay us. We work for men, all of us. You too. We all work for men. Just because we bring a paycheck home don't mean we run anything. We just bring a paycheck home.
Okay, DJ Clip, if you can, while we talk, can you pull up the number of female senators and representatives in Congress? You know, a matter of fact, let me see, the Supreme Court, I think I know that one a little bit better. You got Sonia Sotomayor, there's Elena Kagan, who's the, what's
So
the name of it?
Darnell, what percentage of women do you believe run the country?
Oh, well, that's why I was asking you to pull up the stats. On the number of female representatives in the U.S. House, and
okay, hold on one second.
And the percentage of senators as well in the U.S. Senate. So that's where power derives in our country. Is the legislative branch, and also the Supreme Court.
28%.
28%. Okay, so yeah, I'll say it's a little low, but I mean there is a lot more and more women, you know, that are running the country now. I mean, compared to when, like 100 years ago or what? I would even say 30 years ago.
If the majority of women ran the country, then we wouldn't have to. Then abortion wouldn't have been banned.
Well,
that wasn't a woman's decision.
Well, as I was naming the Supreme Court justices, like I said, I believe it's 4 of them now are women. 4. Elena Kagan.
Let me ask you this question. I'm gonna say it this way. You know what's funny is that whenever men is on a rant online or wherever they at talking, running their mouth, the first thing they'll say is, "Men created everything. Men do everything. Men do everything for women. Women do this. Women can't do this and this and that." But when they want to be a victim, then they start this conversation that you're having now.
No, I'm just pointing out a fact. You had mentioned about if women that ran the country, abortion. You know, we would still have abortion. Well, we have 4.
If women ran the country, women would not still be fighting for rights.
Well, but here's the
women
thing.
been fighting for rights for over 100 years.
But
so if women have so much say so in everything that goes on in this country, and now granted, I will say compared to other places, do we have a lot of rights and leisure to live the way that we want to? Yes, we do. This is not Afghanistan. If that's what you're trying to get to, no, it's not that. But we're not going to sit here and pretend like whatever we get is not given to us by men.
Right, but I just want to address this real quick about the abortion. Abortion was only struck down, or Roe v. Wade was struck down with 4 women Supreme Court justice women. 4. That is the most we have had in our nation's history. And it was 4.
You keep saying like the most we have had and those other things, but it doesn't get to the main subject of we're saying that men run this country. You can say the most that we had and
Exactly.
all these other things, but women don't. What we're talking about is who actually run this country. It's not
Your
women, it's
point was
men.
the patriarchy. Your point was, were we under a system of patriarchy? That was your point. This country is run by men. And that one aspect of this country being ran, the government is only, those people are supposed to represent the people of this country. We just let them sit there and get paid by lobbyists and special interests, which are basically a bunch of men in companies. Okay, that's why I said, tell me the heads of these executives, these CEOs, these companies. That's who actually run this thing, because they pay those representatives in the House to let them do whatever they want to us. That's who run this country. And they're mostly men. Those are the numbers you should be looking at, not those representatives in the White House.
And those women that's in certain places are only there because of laws that was created by men that
Yes.
they actually want to take away from us, like affirmative action.
Well, I mean, they've been talking about taking away affirmative action since the 80s.
Yeah.
And they finally did it.
And they finally did it.
Yeah.
Because the patriarchy has their mammies too.
I think that, like, when we start talking about, it's a very tough conversation to have, especially with Black men. And no shade, I think when we talk to Black men about this, because Black men don't have a lot of power, they begin to talk about this whole, it become like this back and forth. Well, the women, this and that, or whatever the case may be, because it's almost as if you're kind of like in the same situation that we're in, basically, as far as when it comes to having rights and power, in this country. But Black men don't want to admit that. They rather argue back and forth with us instead of arguing back and forth with the men who actually have the power for equality.
They are masters
of Black men within those spaces, they would actually be able to have honest discussions about what's really going on.
Deflect.
Let me play a little bit more of this video. Let's see if it has any interesting content in it.
I just felt I felt the same way as you when I saw it. I was like, I didn't think it was very funny, and people like 50 Cent and were putting memes up and laughing about it, which was pretty shocking, because not shocking so much that he made fun of her, because he tends to make fun of Black women. He tends to do stuff like that. But the fact that he has been shot, he knows how traumatic that is. Like, that's a traumatic thing to have somebody even point a gun at you, never mind actually shoot it. And then somebody that you know and somebody that you thought cared about you, like, that's a very traumatic thing to happen. So I didn't understand why people were pretending to not know if she was really hurt or not. That's why they were laughing and making jokes. I just think it's a bigger conversation about people like to, if you go on TikTok and Instagram and sites like this, we are constantly mocked. We are constantly laughed at. Our pain is constantly laughed at. And we're just disregarded as not important, and we don't matter. And even look at Breonna Taylor. That is a perfect example of, where is the outrage? Where are the arrests? And I don't feel like our community sometimes, particularly Black men, are even loud about it the way they are loud about Black men.
And what was really sad, T, is that Megan had to put out a tweet herself on July 17th saying, Black women are so unprotected and we hold so many things in to protect the feelings of others without considering our own. It might be funny to y'all on the internet and just another messy topic for you to talk about, but this is my real life, and I'm real life hurt and traumatized. And then even after that, a few of the folks that were making fun sort of pulled back. But it wasn't until she had a full-fledged breakdown on July 27th on Instagram Live that people actually backtracked and said, ooh, this is bad. She's really hurting. Why do we have to have a public break?
Let me pause it right there. I mean, if you talk about misogynoir, I mean, how can you have a debate about a man shooting a woman and they're still trying to figure out who's at fault? That's crazy to me. I can't.
She's beneath him. He's not worth the trouble that he see. They're saying that now. His life is not worth the sacrifice of this 10 years. She's not worth him going to jail over because she's only a woman. A black woman is a very low value, and this hatred they pump in these red pill things let you know just how much they devalue their own women, and everybody is watching this.
I feel like with Megan, I feel like first of all, I'm gonna say like what happened to her is definitely unacceptable. And it should have never happened. And if she was, a woman of any other race, it probably would have never happened. But at the same time, I'm gonna say this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say that Black women have like this blind love for not only just the community as a whole that don't love Black women back in the same way, but especially Black men, because I feel like if Megan is a beautiful woman, she's very talented, she's smart, and I feel like she unfortunately this had to happen to wake her up. There's many Black women. She's a perfect example of many Black women who end up in situations like Megan, who end up going to meet their maker, and they don't make it out of this situation. She was lucky; it was just her foot. And I'm hoping that from this she learns, and from what I'm seeing, she's getting the help that she needs, as far as mentally and physically and all those other things. But I hope that she now see, and I don't understand why there's so many Black women that put trust in people who do not care for them or love them or care to protect them or don't value their life. I don't understand it.
We want it like every other racial group has it. Their men marry them. Their men settle with them. Their men have children with them. So we are expecting and wanting that. This is the American dream that is sold. We have been wanting that like every other woman group. We have been thinking we were going to acquiesce into it, into the society like that. But our man has not been able to do that for whatever reason. He's remained this wandering primitive bonobos that cannot acquiesce into this patriarchal structure that we have been put into. He cannot do it. He will not do it, and have not been able to do it like every other male group has.
And it keeps happening over and over again. You see it with Kiki. You have Megan. These are the latest big situations that have happened. Right now, I can't think of any other names, and if any other women can think of any, no matter what time it is, and some of these women have lost their lives, just not living in reality of what's real. Like this is just not what it is. Like it's what you want to be, and what you think. This unity that is this pseudo unity that we're supposed to have is not a reality. It's not happening.
We're starting to wake up now, but we have been warning. We've been seeing it amongst every other racial group, thinking that it is our reality too. We've been thinking we're going to get to home and the picket fence that our man is going to come home and raise the kids and stuff. We've been watching every other racial group do it. Our men they will not do it. They just do not want to. They want to stay in the sunken place. Like I said, they do not want to come out and face and do those challenges and, put their flag in and represent or whatever like other male groups do. That is their symbol of manhood. Our man's symbol of manhood is playing 3 or 4 women and playing video games. That's their manhood. The white man symbol, if you're not married by 30, they looking at you like, oh, like something wrong with you. If you don't have a property by 30, something wrong with you. If you don't have a wife and stuff, they're looking at you by 30 like you're less of a man, or they're looking at you funny like you are not a man. Our manhood in the Black neighborhood is a totally different thing. It's like if you ain't playing women and got a car, got some money or something. So it's different. What defines manhood is a very low level over here. What defines manhood for them is totally different things over there. What divine manhood over here is destructive to our community. So they acquiesce to that, like, oh, okay, yeah, I got 2, 3 bitches, I mean, I'm sorry for cussing, 2, 3 women, this, that. And so they believe that, like I said, the toxic masculinity is what they believe, because there are no stable men. There are less and less stable men. These leprechauns, I'm telling you, they get less and less to come by all the time. So you got less and less of that information out there, and less men, those old sages that's out there saying, boy, go home or whatever, this and that. There's less and less of that out there now. All they got to go from is this toxic masculinity. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I'll keep me 2 or 3 out of this and that or whatever. So this is breaking up the homes and families. Even worse, women have been hoping for this hope. So now they're giving up hope. So things are getting worse now. It's like, hey, I'll just be, abstinent over here and just they do me or whatever. So then they still want to do what they want to do with women, because they've been doing it for years. Like, I just have her to cook, clean, this and that. That's why I cheat whenever I really don't like her, but I got my flag, right here, and make her do what I do. And then I do what I want to do over here. So they're losing the ability to have that control. So now things are pumping up a lot, and it's getting worse out here, and they're getting violent because they figure, like, you supposed to be my little controlled pet. I have an eggplant and 2 partners behind them. I'm supposed to have this, and I'm supposed to have your subservience, and I'm supposed to have your, I've been told this, that under the patriarchy, this is what I get since I have 2 eggplants and 2 comrades to ride with him. You're supposed to bow down and be that. And they basically say that in the red pill spaces. I mean, all day long. And you ugly, or you this and that, and you got fake hair, then I really, you don't deserve this and that. I said, I deserve Beyonce and Rihanna or whatever. If you look any less, then I get to cheat on you all the time. And, all this toxic stuff that's going into their heads. And because it absolves them from anything, any responsibility, any being real, any manning up, that is a very comfortable place to be for them. And it's just luring them in like the Pied Piper, just like the Piper, and they're jumping their butts right in the river and floating off, and they don't see that.
Now, I do agree with portions of what you said, about our culture having toxic masculinity, especially with the cars, buying assets, the fake jewelry, overpriced tennis shoes, i.e. Jordan. It's like having in our community, or actually, I'm gonna start with what you said with the white community. Is you were talking about building in the white community, they're taught to build assets. You're right about that. I mean, white people, they're already in their 20s. They're building 401ks. It might not be a large 401k, but they done already started building. They might be driving a piece of crap car, but they saving their money. I mean, anybody knows a car is the worst investment you can make. But the point is, white people are slowly building, whereas black people, as soon as we get $1, we spend, especially black men, we're spending $1.10. If we have $1, we spend $1.10. And we're playing this constant game of kick the can down the road. Well, eventually you run out of road to kick the can. So, I mean, I agree with that point. Right there, ma'am. I mean, and I think that was very well said.
I think that, this is just my opinion. And what I would like to see is Black women focusing more on themselves and their quality of life, and being able to live a peaceful, safe life. Like, Black women deserve the same happiness and enjoyment in life as anyone else. Black women put everybody else in front of them. When you on a plane and they start talking about the breathing apparatuses or whatever, they tell you that you put your mask on first and then you help somebody else. Black women don't do that. They put everybody else. They'll be inhaling smoke and fire and debris and whatever else, and then they're putting everybody else on mask on. I can care less. Like, this talk about what Black men do and what they're doing and all this other stuff, like I'm really like it's over it. Like it's really just this is not what I came to YouTube for. Like I'm really like I don't really see no reason for it because it's starting to feel like you care more about those things than your own self, your own self-preservation. And I think that black women need to focus more on self. And it's getting detrimental to that point. There is no bill or no law that is, saving these black women, especially black women of certain, demographics and those type of things. And black women need to start focusing more on self-preservation and quality of life and all of the other stuff, whatever it is that they're doing, whatever these men are doing, especially in reference to dating, is none of like who cares? If you don't care, you don't care. I sure don't care. It doesn't bother me. Like you can literally go outside in anything, and there will be at least 20 black men that will try to talk to you. Like that's just what it is. It doesn't matter what you look like, whatever. Like black men can say what they want to say, but it's true. You can get D from anywhere. Now, what their quality is as far as what they offer is different. But if black women are already doing all these things for themselves, and especially in this space where online where you have these men talking crazy, that shouldn't even be your focus anymore. Like who cares? Like nobody cares what they say. Like the reality is that we can't take everybody else with us. Black women and black men are going to be together regardless. Whether they're bad people, good people, or whatever, bad things is going to happen. And that's just what's going to happen. What I would like to see and what I would love to see is for black women to start worrying more about their own quality of life and living life to the fullest and making good decisions.
Is that for
and not feeling sorry for people that is not, and not getting with people that's not on your level, that's not trying to go where you're trying to go in life. Like that needs to stop. You could talk all day, but from what I'm seeing, just being in like these spaces on YouTube, that sisterhood to me is not there. I don't like. I hear you, but I don't see it because it wasn't just black men who got rid of Cynthia G. It was black women too.
Well said.
I agree. I'm really surprised to see the uptick of like toxic mammies out here. I didn't know they existed like that. I kind of thought we were all on one accord with common experiences and things like that. Until I started, experiencing and hearing, what they have to say about things. I can't believe what everything that black women have been through with black men to hear them coming out and speaking the way that they do in favor of the manosphere talking points and actually downgrading other black women when they suffer from the same abuses and suffer from the same degradation and things like that. They think that they are. I guess when I was young, I remember listening to rap music, in the 80s. And I remember them saying some disparaging things about women. I'm just dancing and that because I knew they weren't talking about me. I wasn't that type of woman. So I guess I didn't know in this day and age, maybe they feel like when they're talking about those type of women that they're not talking about them. So I guess it's possible on that note. But in this day and age, these things are rough and rugged that they're saying. These things, and they are all inclusive. They make it a point. When I heard somebody in the manosphere talking about women, and somebody was challenging him, so you saying all women and all women? And he said, your mama, what about your mama and your sister? And he said, them too. Mama. He said, your mama? He said, yeah, my mama too.
Dang.
And I was like, woo, they all bets is off now. Every woman is these, they degrade and talk about like that. So I mean, when they give up their own mama, they all in, they 10 toes down in it, saying that women ain't crap, they ain't nothing, they deserve everything that a man do, they deserve the brick in the face, everything. And they were, I think they were talking about the brick in the face. Then these women deserve all that. So for women to actually be over there, I don't know. I mean, that's like pick me, exponentially. That's an exponential pick me. I mean, I haven't. That's like a new breed. I don't know if they some kind of test dummy pick me or whatever. Because it's like I said, it's kind of blowing my mind to see that they kind of still out there with the type of stuff that's in the red pill, spaces for them to still be clinging on into it.
I
That's
would
kind of
say that
like
they're actually the old breed. Honestly, they're the old breed. That was always there. You know that that was always there. Like we're more of a nuance and speaking out against these things. Like they're still a part of an old breed, which to me the majority of Black women do think like that. It's I don't I don't understand it. Like I don't know why. I don't know if they just have low self esteem or low self worth or whatever it is. I don't know. But to me, that's what all of us don't grow up the same way. I didn't grow up in a household like that. Like, I didn't my mom when she passed was almost 80. I didn't need Cynthia G to tell me anything because I grew up hearing that. Like, I grew up hearing the truth from my family. So like I didn't grow up in a house where there was no like worship of like, oh, you gotta this oppression talk of they this and that. Like no, there was high expectations of us, growing up, in my home. And I understood but I do understand that not everybody grew up the same way. And when I first, joined the military, one of the things that I always said was that I wanted to come home, to my city to be able to help, people that, especially young women that felt like it was no way other way out, and this is just what it was. And I, being as though I had traveled the world and got to experience all these other things, I wanted them to know, like, no, you can do this. Like, this. There's another world outside of this. But there's like this. I don't know if Black women are hypnotized or what it is, where it's almost like a lot of Black women, to me, feel like that's all that they deserve, or that's all that they can get, or that's all, especially when in reference to relationship with Black men, that's all that they, are going to get from Black men. That's all that Black men can offer them. And it's
well,
very sad.
I think they think they're gonna find favor. And to me, I think it's quite apparent that they will not. I mean, they don't show favor toward any women. I mean, they're quick to say not all when it comes to them, but they're not quick to say not all when it comes to us. I mean, I've seen their platforms, many a times in discussion back and forth. I never see them make exemptions. Like I said, that guy didn't even for his mother or his aunties or his family. They're not worried at all. This toxic dialogue that they're putting out, how it affects their nieces, their sisters, the men that interact with them, how they're going to interact with their family members. They're throwing them under the bus because these men are going to come at them with those, ideologies that they're putting forth on these platforms. They're not having one thought about that. While they're cash apping these dudes and pumping this dialogue out there, what it's actually doing to their family members and the women around them that they act like they will supposedly care and love and been dishing them up every Thanksgiving and Christmas and you know what I mean, and helping them with their Easter speeches and all their life, they just like they throw them right under the bus and don't have any conscience about it at all. But then you got the mammies over here hemming and hawing. I mean, I can't believe that, they're just over there just without a care. And they're so strong, just so strong in their position against other Black women. That just kind of blew my mind.
Well said. Well, are there any last words for this evening? We're going to go ahead and This is only one part. We have so many more parts of this Misogynoir to have. This is part 1. We'll probably have up to 10, a series of 10. You know how they do the EPs in the TV shows. Darnell, did you learn anything new today on here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I did. I learned a new term. That's for sure. I'm going to have to do more research on it. Hearing it on your show, I understand you pulled it from other videos, so it must have been around for a while. But it's definitely a new term to me, and I definitely got to say, there is a ring of truth. There's a lot of ring of truth to what's being said. There is a ring of truth. The only thing I'm going to say is I think it's the problem is I'm still under the belief that the problem is on both sides. We're just all operating on extremes. Whether you're black pill, not black pill, red pill, BWE, passport bro, whatever you want to label yourself as. There's some of us that are just operating on extremes, and that's still my opinion. And I'm still doing research on it. But, the more I watch, the more I learn. So.
Why seeking knowledge? Your thoughts?
I'd like to thank you, DJ Torch, for having me on. This is my first panel discussion, so I really appreciate you having me on here. And Mr. Darnell, your statistics are kind of off a little bit. We still are over it for it to be an equal thing. Like we kind of both off like that. You are totally off with that. We are still having y'all children. We are still open to y'all. We are still having hope that y'all love us, but we still believing y'all. Y'all still accuse us of choosing wrong and all this stuff. We are still wide open to our own detriment, where y'all are murdering us, killing us because we get pregnant every 4 hours, and plus we dying at y'all hands because we're letting y'all in. We get successful. Black women get a career. Y'all choking us out, killing us, stabbing us. All this. Check the statistics. It is not equal. We don't turn around and kill y'all when y'all get money. We don't turn around and do any of that stuff. So for you to say we're equal, it is not. It is absolutely not. I don't know what world you live in, but I like you on the panel, and I like seeing you when I'm on here and stuff like this. I look forward to being back and forth with you, on here like this. I love you, and I love you, DJ Torch, that you here and you provide this atmosphere for us to come together in and discuss these things. So thanks a lot, guys, and hey, deuces.
Thank you, Y. Excellent commentary, Y. Excellent. Camo, how about you tonight?
I just want to say good night to everyone and thanks for coming out. And I appreciate everyone on the panel allowing me to express, how I feel and what I think about the situation. And everyone have a good night.
Excellent. Camo, excellent commentary as well. Everybody, if you can give the panelists a hand of applause or use a emoticon or whatever you want to use to show your appreciation, please do. They did a great job tonight. Everybody did a great job tonight. The friends put together a great live stream. Lots of knowledge, lots of information, a lot of insight. I'm just going to kick it like this.
Say what's wrong or right. It's not hard to fool me. 'Cause I'm addicted to the good life. Yeah. Lead the way. I follow. No need to say where we are heading now, babe. I follow. To the edge of it all. To the edge of it all. So tell your good lies, 'cause I'll find a better one. Yeah, susceptible lies before the moment flies. Ooh,
All right. Big shout out to Lucifer. Why? No. Cindy, Anna, Tom, Bridget Newton, Patricia Lovejoy, Miss RV, Eat Play Yoga, Big Cap,
it's not a problem,
Cindy, Anna, Tom,
'cause I know what I'm
Bridget
getting
Newton,
into. Yeah,
DJ,
nothing can stop me, 'cause I'm addicted to what you and
Fiona,
I realize. Lead the way, I follow, no need to say
Kevin, Lifestyle Guy,
where we are heading now, baby. I follow
Tracy, Black, Tina,
to the edge of it all. So tell your good lies,
My Love,
'cause I'll find a better one. Yeah, susceptible lies before the moment flies.
Melanated Vessel, Benji
So tell your
Master,
good lies, 'cause I'll find a better one. Susceptible lies.
and of course, Darnell Elliott, Evan Green. Thanks, everybody. Oh, yeah.